Hey, we're so glad you found us. This is a Juicy Pear podcast with Sean and Wendy. I'm your host, Wendy.
And I'm your host, Sean.
And we want to share with you some storytelling that leaves you feeling entertained, inspired, and puts a smile on your face.
And we are truly hoping to be able to talk about relatable topics, especially in this world of craziness.
So sit back and enjoy the conversation. Stay tuned. Hey, Sean, how you doing today?
Good, Wendy. How are you today?
I'm good. We had fun last night, didn't we?
We did. We had a good time last night. Last night was a Saturday evening, and we spent some of our evening playing a very popular Michigan card game. I call it a Michigan card game. We played the game called Euchre.
Yes, it was fun. I had a good time. You showed me how to do it, and you were very smart with it, Sean. Oh my goodness.
It is certainly a fun game to play for me.
It was very
like
fun.
the competitive nature of it.
Yes. No, I loved it.
I also
It was a
like
good
to
time.
teach folks. I like to teach people to play.
Yeah.
And get used to it. So
It was just nice having us together, and it was less than 6 people. So
yeah, and it was
we
a
were
lot
good.
of a lot of good laughing, which can sometimes be really good therapy. Is to have
Absolutely.
laughter.
We need laughter.
We don't have enough of it.
No, we don't, especially days like what's going on right now. So, yeah, our podcast today, I think we want to focus on mental health and what's going on right now. The narrative right now with mental health, I think, is just, oh goodness, there's not enough people talking about it. I mean, they do talk about it, but it's like, I don't know. I know there's a lot of people hurting out there right now, and we just want you to feel that you're not alone. And there's ways to try and combat depression, I guess.
For sure. And anxiety.
Yeah. So, but there is a lot of it. And I think the stigma is really going away. I mean, like 30 years ago, no one talked about depression and anxiety. I never heard that word at all.
Right. It wasn't out in the forefront as much.
Not at all.
But with the changing of times, now it's much more out in the forefront. Mm-hmm. And even during this time of being in isolation and pandemic and so many rules that we have, people experience a whole lot more just in the last, 11 months now of a lot of anxiety and fear, depression, which can lead to weight gain, sadness.
And it all kind of comes to a head, and it's like,
Yeah.
And then we're all encouraged to be in our own little bubble.
Very much
which
so.
just kind of slams the door on communication, right? I mean, you can communicate through phone and messaging and, your Zoom meetings and things, but that's not really getting to the heart of, I take that back. As far as like messaging, I think it is important to every once in a while, if you haven't heard from someone, a friend of yours, just to reach out, just take a few moments out of your day.
I couldn't agree more.
And say, hey, how are you? I haven't heard from you. You're on my mind today. What, I hope things are well with you. Just to show that you care. I think it's really important.
I religiously have always said that if there is a friend or family member that has come into your brain that you think about at least for a few days in a row, that's totally a leading that you need to somehow reach out.
Yeah.
Whether it's through Messenger and just a quick, hey, how are you doing? I'm thinking about you today.
Right.
Or a fast text or a quick phone call.
I think it's so important. One pet peeve of mine, I have to say, what bothers me is if I do that and reach out to someone and I know things get busy and, and they just blow me off and don't answer. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but that's one thing in my mind, like, oh, okay. Because how long does it take to message back? 2-3 seconds.
And I've always heard another saying that no answer is an answer.
Yes.
So then you got to take that to heart.
That's telling you, oh, okay, you're not as important as you thought you were.
Right.
And that can be kind of detrimental depending upon how you feel you were to that person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that, I don't know, in times like this, I just think it's important to just be nice to each other. And, if someone does reach out, to respond.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just even with a simple, I'm doing fine, how are you?
Right.
It doesn't have to be completely deep, but
No.
I think people are blessed by even being contacted because you are being thought about then. someone is thinking of you and cares enough to even send you messages or to call you or to come over or to send a meal, whatever you want to do. Go play cards because have your community.
Do the right thing.
Yeah, do the right thing.
You know?
For sure.
But you don't know what that person's going through either. They might have,
for sure,
something going on too. So I guess you can't take it too personally. But
for sure.
Yeah. But I had something as far as that can make you depressed is like I went to the dentist. So, oh gosh. All right.
Which a lot of people have anxiety about the dentist, which is legit.
I know, but you know what? Legit. I've never had that. I'd love to have my teeth cleaned, always. In fact, I could go to sleep when someone's cleaning my teeth.
You're probably a rare individual to love having your teeth cleaned. I love it.
I mean, it's just like something I never had anxiety about. But so I would brush my teeth in the last couple of weeks, and I'd have a mouthful of blood. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And my canine tooth on the left side was a little loose, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's kind of weird. So I went to the dentist, and I got some very depressing news. They're like, yeah, your body is kind of killing off your tooth. I'm like, what does that mean? I kind of knew what it meant, though, because I had that happen on the right side of my mouth, and I had to get an implant. And they said it was really rare. And I'm like, what causes that? And they said, well, maybe the stress of having 2 sets of twins in 3 years. They didn't know. They said it is rare, but it does happen. So I did have to have that tooth out, and that was traumatic. And then now to find out that I have to have this tooth removed, and it's like, I didn't, I really brush my teeth, I floss, I really take care of my mouth, and it's like to have that happen again. And so I went to a specialist this week, and they were going to see if they could save it with a root canal. They can't. She goes, it is so bad that it's all infected, and it doesn't look like it is, but she goes, you have to have it pulled.
It's up in your gums?
Yeah. If you don't pull it, you could have major problems, disease-wise. I'm like,
sure.
Oh, okay. So I'm on an antibiotic, and I have to have it pulled December 22nd.
Okay.
I know.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Here's your present. You're going to lose a tooth in the very front.
I know. You laughing.
Sorry.
And I got to have this, you have to wait till it heals, and it takes 3 months to heal before you can even put an implant in.
Got it.
In the meantime, you got to wear this flipper, and I remember vaguely, because I had that done 10 years ago.
What's a flipper?
A flipper is something you put in your mouth, and it's like a fake tooth that goes over your hole, so it doesn't look like you have a tooth missing.
Okay.
But it does make you lisp because it's really hard to get something that fits perfectly. So I remember I just took it out, and I'm like, I don't, I'll just look like.
So when we're doing more episodes,
I don't care.
When we're doing more episodes in January and February, you'll be with the lisp. Maybe.
No, I will not. I am not going to wear that thing. You're just going to have to look at Hillbilly Wendy and.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that.
That's all right.
But
no worries.
Yeah, so that is not a good thing. But I guess I got to look at it like this. I guess I'm blessed to have dental insurance, right?
For sure.
Because if I didn't, that would cost a heck of a lot. I mean, it still costs. It's still out of pocket for sure.
Monetary strain is a whole other reason when we talk about people's mental state and the anxiety they feel. So much monetary strain. So even dental bills can be just daunting, and especially in this pandemic time when people are fighting for their jobs or they're on unemployment.
Yes.
That alone is a whole entire mental thing to deal with.
It is. I mean,
the financial strain
on
people
top of
are
everything
feeling.
else, I think that's a big issue, and can cause a lot of anxiety if you're not financially stable, for sure. I mean, I don't know. So you're big into fitness.
For sure.
I love to run. I feel
for sure.
it's so important to try to keep some sort of fitness up. Now, I feel like the other day when I was kind of getting down, I don't know, I just have moments of where I don't have depression at all, but I do have anxiety.
Okay.
I do. And it gets worse when I don't move around. So I'm like, oh, it's been a few days. I really can tell that I need to run. And I went for a good, an hour-long run. And as soon as I came back in the house, I could feel the benefits.
Yep.
I was already feeling lighter, I felt better. Now, it doesn't mean that later on in the day, when I go to sit down, when I go back up again, it's like, oh, I walk like Frankenstein. But I don't care. I mean, the benefits I feel of moving your body, and you can talk about, you run these fitness groups. The benefits of that is just really, I think it's really paramount.
For sure.
To mental health.
Yep. And for my opinion, I think that there is a lot of excuses that people make all over the place. And I am one that I listen to my excuses because I am full of them. And I know that my mental state is to move as well. And so I work hard to not have the excuses. So people say it's cold in Michigan, we can't get outside to move. But you can completely move in your living room.
Yes.
And when you have a phone in your hand constantly that you're constantly scrolling on, there is a lot of fitness, quick routines and things you can get to through different apps, through iTunes, through YouTube videos. The amount of things out there is just overwhelming with how many things and apps there are to exercise. But even a simple 10 minutes a day of just movement in your plain Jane living room. Yeah. Or if you even have a 5-pound, 10-pound set of weights.
Or just dance around.
And
just dance.
Put on some fantastic music and move around.
I've done that before. Like I've gone on, put a YouTube thing on and I have a bunch of songs I love to dance to. And I was like dancing for, I don't know, a good 40 minutes. I mean, I was sweating away and my kids were looking at me I was crazy. But I sure felt good about it. Just like movement is so important.
Yep. And I think even after movement, even brag about it, the accountability of I just did something. So like when you've texted me and said, I just got 5 miles in this morning, I'm in the background going, awesome. Are you kidding me? You just did 5 miles? That's fantastic. And then, but if people are just commenting and saying, I got up and I just did like 25 squats in front of the television. And then I got on the floor and did some crunches just to move.
Yeah.
Everybody should be so proud of themselves for just getting up and moving.
And I should note that I don't run 5 miles every day. I can't. I just can't. I've never been able to run consecutively, like every day. It's too much for me. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I would say I only run maybe 2-3 times a week. But that's enough for me.
There's been a couple times that I've trained for half marathons, 13.1 miles, and have walk those. So that's a regimen. That's discipline. Yeah. But again, the euphoria when you get done with getting like a 9-mile jaunt in because you're training for 13 miles, it just feels really good. You might be super sore, but that too shall pass. And
the feeling good part kind of, you're so elevated that you don't really care how sore you are. It just, it's very mentally, it's good.
Now, I have on the flip of the coin heard people say, I don't feel euphoria when I get finished running or when I get finished walking. And I'll be like, darn, but keep going. Like, don't stop. Like, don't talk yourself out of it. Don't talk,
I think, what else is good to just kind of lifting up spirits is I feel like little things for self-care. I know you hear that, that word being thrown around a lot today. Self-care. For me, I like to go, to Starbucks and get my favorite drink. Either a salted caramel mocha. Sure. Is there a lot of sugar? Yes. I don't care. I get like one less pump of it. And that lifts my spirits. And this, sometimes I like to go to McDonald's. So, and I try not to underestimate the value of fast food because sometimes, it's just that little, like, you know what? I'm going to get a Coke and a small little fries. And I know that's probably not the best thing, but boy, it sure feels good eating it. And I know this is like totally opposite of what we were just talking about fitness. But sometimes I'm trying to be real. We want to be real. And I do that every once in a while and it really works. It does make me feel good. Some of the best moments of my day is I love to drive in my car. And I love to go like through a drive-through, not necessarily a fast food drive-through. It can be like healthy where I'll go and get a salad. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it, the anticipation of, and I think it's important too to be very nice to your servers, people that work in the drive-throughs.
In that field?
Yes, to be, have some grace with them because they have to wear a mask. They can't hear everybody correctly. You can't hear them. You know, it's hard and it's demanding. I think it's one of the most demanding jobs out there is to have that kind of job. Delivery people too, delivery drivers.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, they are working so many hard hours now. You know, leave the light on for them in the dark because they are working way into the evening time, and they are really humping it with the packages, trying to get all the packages out that everyone's ordered, right? So, I mean, even like leave something maybe out for them, some cookies or something, because they are working really, I mean, they are working really hard, all the delivery drivers. So
I wanted to comment on more self-care stuff that I have many times told you about, is to even take the time to find a journal, a nice blank journal that speaks to you, that for guys and girls, because sometimes journaling sounds like such a girly thing, but holy moly, find a journal, even let the cover speak to you, like let the cover, whatever it says on the cover, whether it's a scripture or it's a motivational saying, what the book even looks like is meaningful to somebody. And then grab a pencil and sit your butt down and totally journal out junk, just write random stuff. You could write completely randomly. Yeah. I drove through the drive-thru today at McDonald's and I got a Diet Coke. And I love that so much and it felt good. And then you could write, I'm so mad at my husband, or I'm mad at my kids, or the podcast didn't upload and I'm trying to figure that out. And just to put it on paper and get it out of your brain and onto paper. Hopefully you can get a sense of peace from that.
Yes.
And that's a huge thing for self-care. But
no, I think that is a really great point. And
journaling
I think it's
is
very,
instrumental.
Very important. Sometimes, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like a lot of depression and anxiety issues can come. I mean, some of it is, just pure chemical imbalance. But I think a lot of it comes from feelings that aren't acknowledged. Then they get buried, and you either get angry and you bury that, or I think, and it's suppressed feelings, and over a period of time, that's a heavy burden.
It sure is
to bear.
Absolutely.
And it's like a wool blanket that's like on you, and it's gets heavier and heavier,
and you're suffocating,
and you're not acknowledging your feelings for whatever happened or whatever thing might have happened to you, or just how you perceived something, whether it was a reality or not. And it gets worse and worse. I just think sometimes if you just acknowledge the thought, whatever it may be, write it down, like you said, journal it, deal with it,
and talk it out.
Talk it out. And then leave it alone, or have an opportunity for yourself. Give yourself some grace to acknowledge it, and then be able to come back to it if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think that would help too.
For sure. Absolutely. Give yourself some freedom from it. Grace.
Because odds are you're not going through that alone. There's other people that probably feel the same way, but they just don't know how to deal with that.
That's where it's good to find a community of any kind of friends to literally have like therapy sessions with.
Yes, like last night.
But to actually see a therapist is important too.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's it's good for our psyche, mental health, is to be in community and talk through things and chit chat
and I think people, some people get triggered very easily. And, I'm going to block this person, or I'm going to do that. And, there are instances where, that absolutely needs to happen,
For sure.
But I think that happens a little too much, though. I feel like in the moment you're angry, you're mad, and I'm going to block. And it's like, oh, okay. Think about that.
Yep. Take a few minutes.
Take a few,
Step back.
Take a deep breath, because what you're doing is you're completely cutting off that relationship, which there are, like I said, there are reasons where you should do that, but what just happened, does that call for that sort of action?
For sure.
Because the person on the other end probably is like, yeah, I'm glad, he blocked me, well, that's good. But then, you go months and maybe revisit that, and again, that moment, if they're still angry about it or it hasn't been resolved, and there's no way to resolve it because you can't communicate anymore.
Sure.
That can be a problem.
For sure.
That's where I think social media can be awful. I mean, there's wonderful things to social media.
For sure.
But there's a really dark side to it as well. And that's where I'm like, maybe it can be done a better way, because it's just kind of cold.
Yep. And I think when you're overwhelmed with the social media world and the scrolling, because it's literally an addiction just to have your phone and keep moving your finger up the screen.
It is. I feel like sometimes I can be I'm addicted to it. I'm like scrolling. I'm like, okay, what am I doing? I'm responding to someone I don't even really know and liking that just because, something they said really resonated with me. And I felt, I'm going to like that because I really feel that was an important point. But then it's like, how much time have I wasted because of it?
Right. So, I truly believe to take your phone at that point, put it down, put it on vibrate, and walk away.
Just walk away.
And walk away and find, hopefully, a sense of peace and patience.
Yeah.
Than to blow up that other person with a gigantic long paragraph text. I am known for my long paragraph texts. And I also have a saying now that I constantly use that sometimes Jesus says, delete the whole text and just type okay. Delete the whole thing that you're about to blow somebody up with and beat somebody down with. Yeah. Delete the whole thing and just go, okay, and just send it.
To be honest, I've done that same thing.
And just find peace.
And meanwhile, it's taken hours of your time. I wasted a whole Sunday on that. And it was like this big long, and when you're getting into the big long paragraphs, it's not gonna resonate with them.
I feel you.
They already have their mindset of, nope, this is my way, and your way is, it's not right. And you can talk all day
long paragraphs,
and it's not going to work for me.
For sure.
And then you're trying to go at different angles, like, well, this is, it's just not going to work. Yeah. I
even sense the long paragraphs that I get from people that might be hot under the collar about something I have done.
Yeah.
And I notice their long lecturing paragraph. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? You probably should have deleted that paragraph and just said, okay, because it was detrimental to me, to them. Well, and I'm totally admittedly guilty and faulty of the same thing. And I receive it. I receive it. I know that I've been a pain in the butt to people.
Halfway through the paragraph, I'm like, I can't read anymore. I'm done.
I have a million typos. I think I might delete these typos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. I feel like as an author, I got to really make sure I spell everything right. I have to go back through it. I'm like,
it's your mental health for spell checks.
Yeah. So anyway,
the world is loud right now, and we are living in a loud world of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and
we're just trying to make sense. Yeah.
And it's very triggering,
for sure.
It doesn't take much to get somebody.
That's why it's so important to just get with your people, friends and family. Even though I know right now in Michigan we have so many restrictions.
Oh my gosh.
But just to get with your people and yap it out and talk it out.
Yeah, it's so helpful. It's so important.
So good.
Too. It's so good because I think mental health is number one right now. There's a lot of people going through some bad stuff right now, and I think we really need to acknowledge that and be there for our friends.
Yes, absolutely. And for each other.
Yep.
And for our world. So should we wrap this up then?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've covered it.
So everybody, thanks so much for listening to this conversation about all the feels.
Yeah,
all the feels.
All the good feels and me losing my tooth and about to anyway. But yeah, it's been great fun.
I hope that we've hopefully said some little snapshots of good nuggets that people can take away with them and go journal it out.
Yes, journal it out. And get a coffee.
No doubt. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
We're so glad you're here. We had so much fun, didn't we, Sean?
Yes. I totally hope, everybody, that you enjoyed our episode. So please subscribe to our website at juicypearpodcast.com.
Yes. See you there.